Lupin the Third is as straight as a pretzel. Welcome to the new segment I'm trying out. I'm not sure on the exact title. The working title right now is either Otaku Talk or Otaku Tower. Basically, for this segment, I'll just be talking about different anime, manga, comics, cartoons, or video games. Different things about the lores, the characters, their backstory, and whatnot. Anyways, for today's Otaku Talk or Otaku Rant, I'll be talking about the protagonist of the long-running series, Lupin the Third. So let's get into it. This concludes the tour, Mr. Monkey Punch. You may leave through the front door. You want to stay? Do you? You're a naughty author, aren't you? Wait, no. Ha ha ha. Bravo, they did a bang-up job, eh? You were completely fooled. This is absolutely, positively, the best disguise ever! Sometimes I just sit here and wonder, how do people still think Lupin is straight? Seriously, all the proof that he's bi is right there, in both the anime and the manga. He literally even does it, as you just saw with the author himself, who is a man during the first part of the manga. You can't even say, well, that is so far into the manga, so many chapters you gotta read to get to that. No, it's in the second volume. The proof's been there since the beginning. He's literally the I come from a long line of bisexuals meme. You also gotta remember, this is the 1960s when it was made. You know, the same 1960s with movements like Free Love and the Summer of Love. So yeah. Exhibit B. They have us pinned down. Am I good looking? I don't want to answer that question. I mean, you and me, would we? Let me think about it. Yes, these panels. This part is definitely well known in the manga. Now, for this page, the Tokyopop English translation changed the lines to something different than what was actually said in the original language. It's still related to the same topic of Jigen asking Lupin if he could do it with him, but it is done in a very different way. In Japanese, this part is done as a pun, with play on words, really old slang, and each character's line has a double meaning. So apparently, it's very PG if you don't know the word pun, and it is done in a way that it could possibly go over some people's heads. But if you do understand the pun, in Jigen's pun line, he's asking Lupin for a sexual favor after this in return. And one of them is asking about who is putting it in, and one of them is suggesting 69 instead. Bruh. Yeah, that's not quite the same as how Tokyopop translated it. Jigen, you two are literally getting shot at right now. Now is not the time. And of course, the panels have to end with a gun right up on their butts, like it was unsubtle from the lines all the way down to the visuals. Exhibit C. During the San Francisco arc, Lupin loses his eye in a bout with Star Mode and ends up getting an X-ray eye to replace it. Lupin is so extra. He wears a pirate eye patch with a skull and crossbones on it, like up until the point when he gets an X-ray eye. Like he's just skips past getting a glass eye or anything like that and goes straight to mechanical X-ray eye. Anyways, as soon as he gets his new X-ray eye, and by that I mean like 2 minutes later, Lupin literally uses it to be a pervert and peep on everyone in the room and see them butt naked. And then he starts oogling Goemon in particular long enough for him to notice. Exhibit D. In Chapter 68 of Shin Lupin the Third, a kid who's undergoing an operation has info that everyone wants. including the Rat Clan. The Rat Clan are a gang of thieves who are the rivals of the Lupin family, and apparently they were also co-founded by Fujiko back when she was younger. Anyways, Lupin is trying to find which hospital the operation is taking place in order to save the kid, because the Rat Clan plans to kill the kid while he's under to permanently shut him up about the info he has. Conveniently, Zenigata knows exactly which hospital the operation is taking place in. So, Lupin tries to interrogate Zenigata about where the operation is being held, but of course Zenigata refuses to spill a location. So, Lupin goes to Plan B and tries to seduce Zenigata disguised as Fujiko and do it with Zenigata in exchange for the location of the kid. What? Like, dude, his first backup plan was to literally let Zenigata do him. But before it even got that far, Zenigata basically tells him that he won't spill, even for sex. So Lupin moves on to Plan B, which involves filming him and Zenigata. I think you know where this is going. As far as the anime for Lupin the Third, it's really inconsistent due to having writers changed often, but I'm still certain he's buying the anime too, and here's why. Let's get into this. In part 2, Lupin actually uses quite a bit of non-mainstream slang that is primarily used in the LGBTQ community in Japan. For example,
さてその次はマグナムの早打ち曲打ち乱れ打ちうるがいと騒がれてダーティーハリーも真っ青の女儀礼で売り出し中次元大介と俺のこった
どう？楽しまない？最初見た時から素敵な人だと思ってたの。
あいにくだが遠慮させてもらう。
あら、ボスが怖いの？それとも育児がないだけ？
残念ながら女嫌いなんでね。
In one episode, if you listen to them speak in Japanese, Lupin calls Zenigata a tachi.
ないな。まあ、強いて言えば、なんだ。しかし、それ言うととっつぁん怒るだろうしな。
言ってみろ、ルパン。これが根性の別れなんだ。めったなことで怒りゃせん。
いいよ。とっつぁん興奮しやすいたちだろ。
そんなことはない。わしは本来冷静なたちなんだ。言ってみろよ。
ほんと怒らない？
怒らんと言ったら怒らんよ。言ってみろよ、ルパン。
じゃあ言うよ。カップラーメン。
Now, it's not tachi as in family, because that's also used sometimes to Lupin tachi. How this word is used is done this way. Nowadays, tachi is slang for dom in a same-sex relationship. But if I remember right, back when the show was made, a tachi was also used as slang for an abusive partner in a male loves male relationship, which is why it was translated into English as you're an abusive partner. Like I said before, tachi can be used in various ways, like how the Lupin family is sometimes referred to as the Lupin tachi, but that's not how it's being used in this sentence. The way it's being used in this sentence is the same as when it's used in a same-sex relationship between two men. The next one, I don't remember which movie or special I was watching when this happened, so sorry, no screenshot. If you know which one it was, please tell me in the comments, I want to know. But it was either in the end of part 2, the beginning of part 3, or a movie. Yeah, I know that doesn't narrow it down all too much, but there's a scene where Lupin and Jigen are alone together at night, and one of them says, "The moon sure is beautiful." You might be going, How does that prove anything? Well, you see, in Japanese, it's a saying that you use to tell someone that you love them. Because outright saying, I love you, is way too direct. So, you convey that emotion to someone you love either through subtle romantic sayings like the one I just mentioned, or actions. Actions is more common though. It's like how you see people propose marriage in some older shows by saying, I want to eat your cooking every day, instead of saying, will you marry me? Though, subtlety isn't exactly Lupin's forte, because we have an example right here of Lupin saying, Aishiteruze to Jigen. Aishiteru is a word that means I love you that is very rarely used because it's most blatantly passionate and romantic way to say I love you to someone. If ever used, it is usually reserved for people who have either been dating or married for a ridiculous long amount of years. But even then, most people wouldn't say that. It's not anywhere near the same level as daisuki, which also means I love you, or to be exact, I like you a lot. It is way, way, way above that. Daisuki is baby stuff compared to Aishiteru. And then we have Lupin Zero.
見届けてくれよ。今から俺がルパン三世が初めて盗むのを。
引き金より早く俺の弾きを盗めるつもりか。
俺の初めての盗みはそんなちんけなもんじゃねえ。なあ次元、俺は盗めたか？
多分な。
Do I honestly need to explain this? I mean, it's literally a confession scene. In episode 101, where Lupin has a crossover with Oscar from the Rose of Versailles, Lupin immediately falls in love with Oscar at first sight. As far as Lupin and the others know, Oscar is a guy. Throughout this episode, Oscar flirts with Lupin pretty aggressively, and Lupin is totally into it. While Oscar is a girl, she was raised as a guy, lives her life as a guy, and everyone thinks she is a guy, unless she says otherwise. Though she has identified as both a girl and a guy when people have asked her directly. But the fact that she identifies as a man in some parts of the stories and a woman in other parts of the stories, and vice versa, and also because she uses she, her, he, him, and lady and lord pronouns. Yes, this is a period piece, so lady and lord. She is probably non-binary. I know some people say, but Oscar looks like a girl, not a guy, so Lupin probably instinctively knew she was a girl. As if that makes any sense. But actually, she doesn't. Oscar's appearance is exactly like how Bishonen, aka pretty boys, looked in romance manga during the 1970s. This is the look that was in for manga during that time. The Bishonen look was inspired by then teen actor Bjorn Anderson and his appearance in the 1971 movie Death in Venice. Meanwhile, girls in romance manga usually looked something like this.
師匠、貴様！
そんなの向けちゃいやん。もう向けるんなら腰にぶら下がってる方向けて。
楽しそう。
Ah, yes. He's definitely the straightest guy in all of fiction. Then there is the argument that I always see, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Discord, or even Instagram. I've seen this argument multiple times, even before I really got into Lupin the Third. That argument being, but he loves Fujiko, and he flirts with women, so he can't be gay, he must be straight. Literally no one is saying that he doesn't like women. It's obvious that he does, but just because he likes women doesn't mean he's straight either. Yeah, he's not gay because he's either bi or pan. Like he flirts and sleeps with women and men. I don't know what else you would call him, but he definitely is not straight. Even Rebecca knows Lupin isn't straight.
Oh, とっつぁん来てくれたのか。
その結婚ひょっとなった。
なになに、ルパンの愛人？
なわけあるか。
She knew him for like a week before they got married. I mean, she literally mistook Zenigata for Lupin's guy on the side. So that should tell you something. I've also seen arguments saying, if Lupin is bi, then why does he act like a horn dog every time he's around women, but only very rarely when he's around men? When it comes to bisexuality, you could have a 50-50 attraction towards men and women, or your attraction could even be something like 10-90 or 70-30. It's different from person to person, really. Bisexuality is a spectrum. Plus, there isn't a default way in which attraction works. Lupin just has a preference towards women, while still being attracted to some men. Much like how some people have a preference towards men, while still being attracted to some women. Either way, still bisexual. I'm not even going to get into the bi cycle, cause that's a whole nother beast. Also, another reason for Lupin not being shown to be attracted to as many men as he is with women could have to do with both censorship guidelines, as well as the fact that a majority of the dudes that appear in Lupin the Third are crusty old evil rich dudes who you can trust even less than Fujiko, or crooked cops and politicians who want him dead, some of which regularly frame him from heinous crimes that they themselves committed. They literally have no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Now I'm sure there are some people out there watching this rolling their eyes and shaking their fists going, "You're just trying to push the gay agenda," or something. But I am literally bringing you visual evidence from both the manga, which was written by the author Monkey Punch himself, as well as visual evidence from the anime. As Monkey Punch has said before, Lupin is the optimum of freedom. He is not bound or limited by anything. Not laws, not borders, not social norms or constructs. Even the laws of physics, really. He lives his life how he wants without putting any restraints on himself. Lupin is simply, unabashedly Lupin. So to end this, in the wise words of Goemon Ishikawa the 13th.
見たか次元、ルパンの目を。男が男を。ありえぬことではない。
Until next time, see ya! Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. I plan to do more videos like this, or at least one more. If I enjoy doing the second one, I'll probably do some more on other topics. The next one will be another Lupin the Third related one. After that, if I want to do more, I might do other series as well, but right now I'm kind of obsessing over Lupin the Third, so that's what I want to talk about. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, see ya!
You're giving me the Black Panther? Oh, Lupin, I love you! Come over here. I want to be your little pussycat.
First, I'm not a prop for your sexual fantasies. Secondly, you don't have it yet.
Denied.